WWE roster right now is absolutely stacked, but you need to have a certain amount of wrestlers that are at the top of the food chain who are the champions of the WWE. Now, every single one of those competitors needs to at one point or another lose their title. And today we're going to talk about every single championship and who I think should dethrone every single one of those champions. Now, before we get into my predictions on who I think should dethrone every single one of the WWE champions right now, if you guys enjoy professional wrestling content, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button somewhere in the top or bottom when you guys see it. Make sure you guys ring that bell for notifications. And I'm super excited to tell you who I think is going to dethrone everybody. So let's get right into this video. First up, we have the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, and the current Women's Tag Team Champions are Unholy Union. And the cool thing about the Women's Tag titles is these titles are not brand exclusive. The women go from Raw, the women go from SmackDown. So a team from either one of the shows could dethrone these women. But the one really cool thing is that these two women, I think, will have a very long reign. It makes a lot of sense because they are both very good in the ring. In my opinion, Alba Fire is one of the best female wrestlers on the whole entire roster. I've said it for a very long time. When she was Kaylee Ray, I really thought she was next up in just the whole women's division of the WWE. But the women that I think will dethrone them is a faction that I believe that once they're all healthy, they're going to be a massive player on whatever show they're going to be on by the time they're ready to dethrone them. And I think Damage Control is going to be the ones that dethrone them. I think when Asuka comes back and when Dakota Kai is healthy, any two combination, whether it's Io Sky and Asuka, Kairi and Asuka, the Kabuki Warriors, one way or another, I believe that they're going to be a massive player on whatever show they're on, whether it's going to be Raw, whether it's going to be SmackDown. And I believe that them being the tag team champions is only going to elevate them to the next level. And it's also going to let that faction work on both shows. And that is something that they are so good at. And it makes the most sense for them to be the women that dethrone them. Now, a little caveat. I know a lot of you guys are probably screaming and saying, Bianca and Jade, Bianca and Jade. I do think it would make sense for them to do it as well, and eventually one person turns on the other. But I think that Damage Control literally makes so much more sense, and they get so much more value from being the tag team champions than anybody else. Next up, we have the WWE Tag Team Champions, and the current WWE Tag Team Champions are the Bloodline. And we just saw in a previous episode that it is no longer Jacob Fatu and Tama. It is now Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. Now, these two are obviously brothers. They have great chemistry. They work together very well. If you watch New Japan Pro Wrestling, you obviously know that they're good as a tag team. But I do think there is a tag team that makes way more sense than them being tag team champions, but that's not going to happen until the Bloodline 2.0 is ready to end. I don't know how long that story is going to be. I don't know if they're going to have Roman just crush it. I don't know if it's going to last till WrestleMania, but they're going to stay tag team champions as long as the Bloodline 2.0 is relevant. Now, most of you guys are probably thinking, oh, so you're going to think that it's Jimmy and Jay are going to come back, take it from them, and prove that the old Bloodline is better. And that's such an easy cop-out answer, but until Jey Uso is back on TV and until we get an idea of where Jimmy and Jay stand when it comes to their relationship, I don't want to guess that they're automatically coming back and going for tag titles. I know a lot of us still want to see Jimmy Uso as the Intercontinental Champion. Am I foreshadowing? Maybe. But I think that the Street Profits make the most sense, especially since their face... It makes the most sense. They're the best tag team arguably on that show. And I do think that they're going to, bring back a lot of the real tag team wrestling. We saw them have an absolute banger match with DIY to be the number one contenders. So I do think that we do see the Street Profits end up being the ones to dethrone these guys. And the last tag team champions, we have the Judgment Day. We have Finn Balor and JD McDonough. Now, this one was very hard for me to make the right decision. I was back and forth on two teams. I'll tell you who they are and why I decided to go with one of them. But I do think that as long as Judgment Day has the feud that they have right now with the Terror Twins, I don't see them looking weak at all. So I think whenever that ends, we can see them dropping it. But I was between two teams. I was between American Made with the Creed brothers winning it, or I had the idea of the New Day with a combination of Kofi Kingston and Odyssey Jones being the one to dethrone them. And ultimately, I think that New Day makes the most sense because I do think that the WWE is very heavily invested in Odyssey Jones. I think that it's very obvious that they want him to be somebody on this roster. He is a powerhouse. He is massive, and he makes the most sense with Kofi Kingston because Kofi Kingston knows how to elevate talent, and as well as can just take Odyssey Jones under his wing. They have a title reign as tag team champions, and he helps elevate Odyssey Jones to the next level. Now, once again, I do believe we have to wait until the Judgment Day starts falling apart for this to happen, but I think we're a few months away. Maybe by the end of the year, we're going to see the New Day as tag champs once again. Now, the next champ is the Speed Champion, Andrade. This, I guess, I mean, it is a title. It is in the WWE, so I will give my prediction on this. I've actually seen Andrade defend the title at Madison Square Garden against Xavier Woods. I don't really know how they pick people for the tournaments or like who's up next, but Andrade is obviously feuding with Carmelo on the main roster, and I think that it would help their feud a lot if Carmelo has one over by saying he took the Speed title away from Andrade. So I'm gonna go, I guess, with a Carmelo Hayes. So if you're an avid Speed watcher, don't get mad at me if he's not even like an option, but I would really like it also. Can they bring Speed to like YouTube and TikTok and everything that's not just X? Because I deleted that app a little bit ago, please. Now we have made it to the mid-card titles, and next up we have the United States Champion, LA Knight. Yeah. Now this one is one that I think may be a little obvious, but it's one that I think needs to happen if we want to take a certain faction very seriously. I think Solo Sikoa is going to give the orders to Jacob Fatu to go get the United States title. And it makes a lot of sense because LA Knight had beef with the old bloodline. He went for Roman's title. They jumped in with that fatal four-way situation that we had happen. So LA Knight has history with the old bloodline. So the new bloodline is going to walk in and say, hey, we're going to take care of everybody that, you know, the old bloodline had problems with to show that we are significantly better. But this time we're actually going to have Jacob Fatu take the title off of LA Knight. And I believe that this is going to elevate Jacob Fatu to the next level. It is not realistic right now for Jacob Fatu to take the title off of Cody Rhodes. I think we can all agree on that. The next best thing is having him win the mid-card title, and then they will hold the tag team title, they will hold the mid-card title, and potentially, maybe I'm foreshadowing, Solo Sikoa could be a WWE champion. That would make them arguably the strongest faction in the entire industry. Now, as much as of an LA Knight fanboy as I am, I do think Jacob Fatu is going to dethrone him, and I think it makes the most sense. So, LA Knight, as much as I love you as champion, I think Jacob Fatu is going to take that title, my boy. Next up, we have Intercontinental Champion, Braun Breaker. Now, Braun Breaker just won this title, so, you know, everyone's going to assume that Braun Breaker is going to have a little bit of a reign to prove himself, to show that he is the next guy up. And it's crazy because in my head, when I was writing the script for this video, I was like, all right, I have a guy in mind. But then Jey Uso announced that he's going to be in the Challengers tournament for who's going to compete for the Intercontinental Championship against Braun Breaker at, I believe, Bad Blood. Now, could this finally be the moment where Jey Uso becomes a singles tag team champion? No, it is not. It is not Jey Uso. I do believe Jey Uso is probably going to win that tournament. But I do believe that the way that the bloodline gets involved in Jey Uso's story is they cost him one more time in a title match against the Intercontinental Champion Braun Breaker. So who I think is going to actually dethrone Braun Breaker is somebody that he injured and got off of television, and that is Ilya Dragunov. I do believe that we're going to have a situation where Braun Breaker is going to defend the title several times, whether it's on Raw, whether it's at a PLE, and I believe that it's going to give us the validity that he is the next guy up, and he's going to end up dropping the title to an Ilya Dragunov to move to the next stage of either competing for the World Heavyweight Championship. He moves over to SmackDown for the WWE title. Whichever way he's going, I think this is just a stepping stone for Braun Breaker, and I think it's going to be a stepping stone for Ilya Dragunov. So Braun Breaker is going to get dethroned by somebody he knows very well in Ilya Dragunov. Next up, we have the WWE Women's Champion, and it is the Queen, Nia Jax. Anyone who's watched me for a very long time knows I'm a big Nia Jax fan, and I believe she is about to have one of the greatest stories in the WWE. This whole being a queen and being a champion, she's going to defend her title against people like Mi Chin. I believe that she will, you know, have other just I wouldn't say mid-card, but like a Naomi, maybe Bailey again and stuff like that. But she's going to get pinned after one of these matches by her little sidekick, Tiffany Stratton. I believe Tiffany Stratton is going to pull one on Nia. I mean, I think it's very obvious. They're building us this storyline that Tiffany loves her and is doing all this for her and all this and that. But I do believe it makes the most sense for Nia Jax to get turned on by Tiffany Stratton. And I promise you, that pop, when Tiffany Stratton cashes in that case on an injured Nia Jax and hits her with the prettiest moonsault, is going to be one of the most deafening things we have heard in a very long time. So with that, we are going to have the no longer princess, but new queen, Tiffany Stratton, as our WWE Women's Champion. Liv Morgan is our Women's World Champion. And this one, I think, I don't really need to do much explanation. I think we all know who is going to dethrone Liv Morgan. But I think this story is going to get even better. I think this story is going to get even hotter. I think this story is going to just go for at least 4 or 5 months. But Rhea Ripley is going to destroy Liv Morgan and get back her Women's World Champion. I also see a situation where they could flip-flop the title, but at the end of the day, whenever all the dust settles, Rhea Ripley is going to be our Women's World Champion. Am I being biased because I love Rhea? No, because I also love Liv Morgan. I think both of these women are absolutely amazing. I think they're arguably the 2 best women on Raw by an absolute mile, most entertaining. The storyline they're building is phenomenal. But Rhea Ripley is the face of the women's division in the WWE. Rhea Ripley is the best woman in the WWE. Rhea Ripley is just levels above anybody else on this roster. She's it. And I think that she has to hold a title, and it's going to be that title that is on the shoulder of Liv Morgan. So we've arrived to our first world title, and man, oh man, are you guys going to be so pissed at me because I don't think this guy's going to win it, but I think he has to and should win it. Gunther is the current world heavyweight champion. At Bash in Berlin, he is defending the title against Randy Orton. The winner stays on Raw. The loser goes on SmackDown. This is the perfect opportunity for us to have a heel, a bad guy that is believable for Cody Rhodes to face and gives us a fresh champion on Raw that can go against guys he hasn't faced because Gunther's faced everybody on Raw as an Intercontinental Champion. I'm sorry that I'm yelling, and if I pierce your ears, I'm really sorry. Randy Orton should win this match. Randy Orton makes the most sense. Randy Orton wins the World Heavyweight title, defends the title against all the guys that are on Raw right now. It makes too much sense. Gunther goes over to SmackDown, challenges Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship and tries to take it off of him while the Bloodline figures out their issue, and you finally have a situation where we're not stuck on just the feud between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. That's not going to happen. Unfortunately, at Bash in Berlin, which I believe my prediction video comes out after this, Gunther is going to win. Randy is going to go back to SmackDown, potentially heel turn on Cody. I don't see that happening. I don't think it should happen, but potentially heel turning on Cody. But this was a really hard one for me to pick. I think Gunther's going to have a reign. John Cena is going to do it. John Cena is going to win at WrestleMania Night 1 against Gunther. John Cena is going to be a 17-time world champion by beating Gunther at WrestleMania. I know it sounds so fanboy and so like fairy tale ending type thing. I think Triple H sees it. He has to. There's no way he doesn't see the potential opportunity he has in front of him to do it. And I think he's going to pull the trigger. And word life, this is basic thugonomics. John Cena will be our world heavyweight champion. Or it's probably just going to end up being Braun Breaker, which realistically is the right choice, but I'm just being biased now. And now we have made it to our final champion, the undisputed WWE champion, Cody Rhodes. There's 3 options here, and I think there's only 3 options in this situation. Before you guys get mad at me, that option is not Randy Orton. I I've said it many times. I made a whole video about this. Randy Orton should not face Cody Rhodes because the fans will turn on Cody Rhodes for Randy Orton, and that will stifle everything that Cody Rhodes has built. Your three options are Solo Sikoa, Roman Reigns, The Rock. Those are your three options. The Rock has made it very obvious he's coming back for Cody Rhodes at one point or another. Does that mean that he's coming back for him at War Games? Does that mean it's coming back for him at the Royal Rumble? Does that mean he's coming back for him at WrestleMania? I personally think we're going to end up seeing Cody Rhodes against The Rock at WrestleMania. And I do believe that it makes the most sense for anyone to dethrone Cody at that moment would be The Rock. The Rock has the history. The Rock makes the most sense. And it's the easiest way to take the title off of Cody Rhodes without it damaging Cody Rhodes, in my opinion. Roman Reigns is another one. With him being turning, I guess, anti-hero, borderline babyface, and potentially everybody wanting this Cody Rhodes heel turn. I don't think it's going to happen, guys. Don't get mad at me. I think that it makes a lot of sense for Roman to do it because a babyface Roman can now challenge a lot of the people that he couldn't challenge as a heel. And he'll go against all the heels that are on the roster. He'll go against the Gunthers, the Braun Breakers, the Solos, a heel Drew McIntyre. I don't know. A heel Randy Orton. Something along those lines. And the last one is Solo Sikoa. It's the guy that I really think should do it. Because a Bloodline 2.0 with Solo as champion, Jacob Fatu as United States champion, and tag team champions, they are arguably better than Bloodline 1.0, and it makes a lot of sense if they invest even more time into having them be dethroned and destroyed by the old Bloodline. But I do think it's going to end up being Rock. I hate to say it. I don't want it to be Rock. I really hope it's either Roman or Solo, but it's going to be The Rock, and I think it's going to be at WrestleMania. And I think it sets us up for Roman to take it off of him at, like, SummerSlam. Realistically, Backlash? No, SummerSlam. But I do think The Rock ends up taking it off of him, and I hate that I have to say that because I really don't want that to happen. But I want to know from you guys really quick in the comments down below, which one of my predictions do you agree with, or can you give me a list of who you think will dethrone every single champion? I'd like to know if we're on the same page, completely different areas that we're going in, or if you think this guy, you think this guy, this guy, this guy. I want to know from you guys. So let me know down in the comments below who you guys think will dethrone everyone. And if you guys enjoyed this video and you guys made it this far, obviously make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications. With that being said, I want to say I love each and every single one of you guys. This is much love from me, Alan Owens, to you guys. Peace.